Okay, so welcome back to you, the listener. It's an honour and privilege to be hosting season number 3 of this summit. And this time we're talking all about love and how to really flourish in your sacred union while ascending in consciousness. So a very important topic, which I know will affect many of our listeners. And what's so perfect about today's interview is that I am joined by a real life sacred union couple. So definitely lots to learn and lots to share. So let's get started by welcoming Anaiya Sophia and Pete Wilson to the show. Welcome to you both.
Thank you so much. It is absolutely amazing to represent this with you.
And I promise to behave.
Well, our viewers, some of them might not want you to, Pete. You know, I'm not sure if I do, but we'll see how it goes. No, thank you so much for being one of our very brave and beautiful couples that we have on the show. We have a few couples, and I just think it's incredibly brave that you guys have stepped forwards and are revealing yourselves and being vulnerable in this way. So I thank you very much. And let's start by, I'd love to give the viewers a bit of background into who you both are, what you do in your work in this world, your sacred work, and also I'd love to hear how the two of you met.
Okay, I'll start then.
Ladies first.
Well, I'm a Brit. I was born and raised in the UK and did my time in Glastonbury, London and Brighton. We're now living in the French Pyrenees. So I've had a few incarnations this lifetime, from fashion designer, yoga teacher, to kind of sort of womb sacred sexuality. Certainly not expert, but speaker. But I feel what I'm doing, my work, so to speak, is navigating the woman's journey, basically. Yeah. So you were talking earlier about us being, you know, a couple. But we have an ace up our sleeves, and that ace is I'm in menopause.
Oh, and that's an ace, is it?
That's my ace. That's my added extra special ingredient.
Oh, I want to hear more about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's me really.
Yeah, I'm somewhat some years older than Anaiya. Not so many, that makes a difference. But my background is I've been from an early age an infantry soldier, British Army, 14 years, serving in places like Northern Ireland, the First Gulf War, and spent some time in Germany. After leaving the army, I immediately moved to Sweden, where I lived for 15 years. I've lived in Denmark for 5 years, and now here in south of France. So, interestingly for me, I've got to meet a lot of guys in my home environment. And what I'm doing at the moment, I wouldn't say for a living because I do it for free, but I run Zoom-based Sunday night calls for men, which is like a circle or series of circles where they can come for free, they can stay as long as they want, kind of thing. And just briefly, it's about men finding the commonality and a space where they can speak freely and be witnessed, and their story be recognized by guys just like them, but who happen to live in other countries. So that's my end of it.
That's beautiful. That's huge service, Pete.
Yeah, there's noticeably more men creating more spaces for other men to step up and to share and be shared with, and that's all good. That's needed.
So I'd love to hear a little bit more, because it's intriguing me. So I know that there will be people in the audience who are also thinking these questions about your transition, Pete, out of the forces into the work that you're doing now. Was there a defining moment? Is there an awakening story behind that?
I would say that to some extent, I've been on some kind of spiritual path, even in the military.
Right.
And service life is very similar to monastic life in many ways. the big subjects that of course come up are your own mortality, and
Yeah.
dealing with other people in extremely stressful situations. But important for me is experiencing how I am in extremely strenuous, stressful situations, which is interesting. It actually takes more courage, I think, to be in a conscious relationship than it does to go to war. Forever. That's easy. That's an easy way out. Staying an enemy, as it were, on the inside, constantly changes shape and tactic. Takes more courage than to face, hundreds of screaming foreigners. So,
that's very wise. Not that I've been in the military, but I can completely tune into what you're saying there. That's a very wise statement. Yeah.
You could say that, even soldiers, infantry soldiers, they're trained for what they do. No man is trained ever to what it means to be a man in this time. Very interesting, difficult, courageous work. That's just beginning, I think.
So what's your story then? Your couples? How did the divine synchronicity bring you two beloveds together? How did you meet?
Oh, it was so amazing. So before Pete arrived, I was living where we live now, which really is in the middle of nowhere. It's a forgotten rustic village in the foothills of the French Pyrenees. And I had a very intimate, opening, revealing relationship prior to Pete. And I was very much in the aftermath years, nursing and caretaking my heart and being very cautious and very discerning. And there was definitely a moment where I felt I will never fall in love in that way ever again. And that my life now was to help others, encourage others to go forward in this sacred union and to be a supportive kind of like elder for them. So I'd really found my peace with myself.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, literally, lo and behold, Pete turned up on the front doorstep. Now I knew he was coming. I knew he was coming on Facebook. And even though I was saying to myself, oh, it's not going to happen for me again. I'm here now in a support role. When I did used to pray, I very, very much got the strong wisdom that he is going to turn up. He's going to literally knock on your door. You don't have to go out looking. You don't have to go to the West Coast looking for this conscious man. He really will show up. And I remember my logical side going, yeah, but that's impossible because no one will ever find this front door. But it was absolutely true.
So what was he doing? Like going to get some cheese or milk in the, what was going on?
I could say, at the time I was living in a large retreat center in Denmark. And simply what happened was a retreat got cancelled, giving me the time. And then when I started wondering about how it could be to meet my friends in south of France, the money appeared out of nowhere. So I booked literally an overnight train journey, return journey, and got my butt down here. I knew Anaiya had some women's retreats going on almost back to back, so it was only a 2-day window between them where we could possibly meet.
So you knew each other before on Facebook? You'd been chatting on Facebook?
Yes.
Aww.
We kind of liked and noticed each other's sort of written work. And my first contact was reading one of Anaiya's books.
Right.
And the style of writing intrigued me. It's a combination of
He's a good writer. I've noticed this on your very good writer. Yeah.
but you know, a combination of heart-centeredness, but also sort of ordinariness in a British kind of way. So that it wasn't someone trying to, you know, if it's been West Coast America, it's like would have been irrelevant to me. But it was very knowable, recognizable. So then,
and I liked Pete. I knew he was a spiritual being, and I could tell from his poetry that he was very sensitive and creative. But I also liked his gritty side. He was gritty. I knew he was a soldier. I knew he had a full body tattoo. I knew he liked to be out in the earth. You know, as deeply spiritual as I am and would love to always be more. I don't think me and a very spiritual being would work well.
Interesting.
Strong, playful side. I like to play. I like to be mischievous. I like surprises. So So I was like fishing, and
you needed a grounded but conscious man.
Yeah, a man of the earth.
Beautiful. So it was just you met and there was a connection and
totally.
That
moment where he stood up and we embraced, I just knew. I think we both did. We both just knew. And that was that. The next part of this story, a quick summary, he was due to go back to Denmark because that's where he lives.
Yeah.
But he found out that the 2 retreats he was working on were cancelled. So he said, what do you reckon? Shall I stay here? I said, yes.
Wow.
Let's go.
Really?
Yeah, he didn't even go back to Denmark. He didn't get his belongings. He simply stayed.
And how long ago are we talking?
3.5 years.
3.5.
Yeah.
Well, that is, I tell you what, I mean, that is huge, and congratulations, because those whirlwinds, I mean, you know, I've been in a couple of those myself in the past, and the longest it lasted was 6 months. So, you know, that is like, that's a huge achievement, and it's a beautiful story, very romantic. But also it's nice to have met somebody where, you know, you've actually gone through that transition together.
Yeah.
And like Pete said, you know, he stayed, you stayed together, and nobody's gone off to war. No. So
would have been easier.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. So okay, so I really want to, I've got some questions about sort of sacred union and to get your perspective on that, but I'd just like to circle back and understand more about that menopause comment that you made.
Right.
Why is that a secret weapon?
Well, it's not really. It's just, again, that's just me being playful. It's, there's an added element. There's an added energy here. It's a creative energy. It's a truth-telling energy. And it's definitely, I truly believe, an ascending spiritual energy if you allow it to do what it is trying to do, which is burn away all your fakery and conditioning and compromise and sacrifice.
Right.
So it is like the ultimate Kali period for women. You know, not only do they become Kali, but they are being operated by Kali. And Kali always seeks to destroy that which is not true.
Absolutely.
To reveal the true face. So you could say, you know, this is me being extremely optimistic. You should have seen me last week.
That's great.
In my optimistic phase, this is a booster and a rapid, accelerated part of the path.
Right. Wow. I love that.
When it's time for, you know, letting go and going through the eye of the needle, it is an epic emotional uproar.
Well, because this is it. I mean, I love Kali. I identify with Kali. I'm not sure I'd want to be in a relationship with Kali, though.
That's like, what's the word?
Pete?
Yeah, exactly. Mishap. That's the mishap.
I don't get that. I don't get mishap. Actually, the woman in menopause, or Kali, are the biggest invitation for a man to step up and grow up. Or me, simply. There's little time left for bullshit, and it has to bring. Just menopause happens to both. It doesn't just happen to the woman.
Yeah, I love that.
And embraced that way, it becomes something that's happening for us rather than to you. So what a wonderful journey. I wonder how this is going to do, what it's going to do with us and do for us, what it's going to strip away, and who's going to be left. And that's the important one, I think. I got from what Anaiya was just saying, who is left after all the fakery has been scraped away with a Brillo pad from both of you. Who's left? You know,
I remember when I was younger, back in the days of the guru, that's my past. I've had a few gurus. When you're living in the ashram and just undergoing what needs to be undergone, I noticed that, this new part of me would come forward, very disciplined, very committed, very pure, very graceful, very humble. And I was like, oh, this is nice. But then, the retreat or the period in the ashram was over. And then I'd go home and just be this impatient, frustrated bitch again. And what I'm noticing with menopause, it's like the guru is with you all the time. You're not allowed. The corner is too tight to hang out in. That guru presence, that Kali presence is seeing all of your antics, your manipulations, your lies, your half-truths, and it's just too uncomfortable to be that anymore.
So you have to transform.
You have to. Yeah.
That's fascinating. I mean, I'm a few years off, don't know how many, but a few years off. So it's very intriguing to get this insight. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I'll have to give my other half the heads up.
Yeah.
That is coming.
We're a new generation. When my mum and grandma reached menopause, it was very much the end of the working life, the female life. It was like the winding down process. But us now, I mean, I'm not even 50 yet. You're younger. We're nowhere near winding down.
No.
We're looking at second wind.
Yeah.
So the consciousness of the woman going into menopause now is totally different. So we're going to see a lot of changes in this process. It's not going to be an end of life process anymore. I do believe it's going to be a woman's second wave of creativity and contribution.
Another path of initiation into a higher priestesshood or goddesshood. Yeah. Fascinating. Okay, so yeah, it's really intriguing, and I love the way that Pete described it as it being something that happens to both of you.
Yeah,
that's a really beautiful reflection. So how would you say that coming together has how would you describe it? Do you feel it has advanced, accelerated your awakening, your enlightenment path?
Is that to me?
Yes.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. For me, it is the only relevant classroom in this time, now that the gurus have been exposed for whom, what they are, and whichever church or major religion has been also exposed for what it isn't, that the major learning ground, of course, is relationship. My personal feeling is that, of course, we received our deepest woundings in the deepest first relationship. And it's only in a relationship as deep that we can possibly approach the reality of those wounds.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's possible to get the other side of them. Who are we? Who could we be? The other side of our deepest woundings.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, from our mind's perspective, we just don't want to go into this ground because look what happened to us last time. Why would we?
Mm-hmm.
So my defenses are up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm called into question, or whatever it is the trigger. And this is the real stuff. This is where we could choose to run, we could choose to hide or keep on defending our viewpoint, but we both also know somewhere in this there's a corner of truth. I would be wise to listen. I still defend, I still kind of, hey, that's not my shit to deal with kind of, but you know, when it is quite quickly, I feel we both go, oh yeah, there's something in this. I need to spend some time with this. Or how do you mean? What are you seeing? Because I don't want to see this, which you're reflecting back at me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's here. What is it?
Mm-hmm. And how do you navigate this path of what is mine, what is yours, what am I reflecting, what am I, you know, what is in me?
I feel, and it has been proven true to us, that whenever the couple is in a big one, it is absolutely 50-50. It is a co-creation.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it's big, when it's repetitive, when it causes each deep sorrow and pain, it is a role you are both playing. So you can't really say, this is your problem, you know, this is your issue. We are co-creating this little mama together.
Yeah.
And usually there's an active one, and then there's a passive one.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the perpetrator, there's the victim, there's the eagle, there's the lion. It's this play of opposites.
Mm-hmm.
If you're pointing the finger at the aggressive one, you know, the one who's activating this, you have to look at your quiet little role.
Yeah.
Being the receiving end.
Yeah,
Pete, you had your hand up there.
This is the active one. I'm the passive aggressive one.
Yeah, if I find me, you're gonna know about it.
Is it that way around for you guys?
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting because I was sitting there trying to work it, and I wasn't sure.
Right.
So, I mean, but we did have the Carly speech, so but in my relation, I'm the active one as well, and he's more passive, and we've had this, you know, we've had these discussions about, okay, you know, let's not all hate on the bully, the one who seemed to be the bully at the times. You know, there's a co-creation going on here. So yeah, and I think it takes a very strong man. It does take and kudos to you, Pete. Kudos to my partner, because that is an unusual in society place to be in the dynamic as a male.
Yeah.
What's your experience of that, Pete? And how do you internally have the resiliency and the love to be able to, you know, to be responsible for what you're co-creating?
I just want to say that no two couples are the same. There is no one solution that is good for all.
Yeah.
And I also feel I have to be in a fully committed relationship for this to go anywhere. That's, you know, because we both need a secure box and foundation within which we are deepening. Why committed and long term? I feel you have to get to know each other over time. You have to know what the triggers are and whether you're choosing to keep away from them, but is that a suppression, or choosing your arguments as in, maybe we would be wise to go into this, push the boundaries just a bit more, not to mess her around, but you know, something else has come up in that subject. Oh, she's getting new eyes on this one. Or we've had this same discussion many times where I feel such and such.
Mm.
Something new has come into the equation. And with Anaiya's skillful handling, because she knows me better now, she knows what language to use to encourage or to face something, or sometimes, you know, sometimes about being quiet and not now, in your moment kind of thing. And it's, you know, it's for every guy to really develop his natural feminine pole within himself, so that he can listen, so that he can, you know, use intuition, know when she's not really telling her full truth, but not call her on it right then and there. Maybe in another way, as is that true for you? Or, you know, learning what she needs so she can reach her right way. And it, yeah, it's and then having the masculine courage to kind of do the right thing in the right way.
So yeah, no, thank you for that, and it leads me to wonder, and I'd love to get both of your perspectives on this. How do you perceive what is going on inside, within your inner masculine, your inner feminine, as beautifully portrayed in your relationship? What would you both say in terms of that dynamic? Where are you at in that journey?
Well, I feel, and this is what we've been experimenting with, is we need to have some of our own space. These last weeks, we really hit a very unique plateau the other day, you know, with the menopause, with everything, with the world, you know, with everything that's happening, all these protests in London and Paris, you know, we are in a big field of motion. And I was due to travel and I simply could not. I could not travel. And so we came back home, and I was in a little bit of a mess, to be honest. It seemed like a burnout, but it wasn't, thank God. We decided to have separate bedrooms. And within days, we both received this sort of like new sense of self and stability. But the mind, our mind, you know, we got one foot in the old paradigm and, you know, thankfully getting another foot in the new paradigm. To sleep separately, this is like really bad. This is really bad. This means there's something very, very wrong with the relationship.
Yeah.
You know, mum and dad would be like, because they even still to this day sleep together. This is just such a no-go. But we did it anyway. And, you know, we were able to confess, wow, it's really nice. I'm sleeping well, I can be a starfish. I'm finding myself again, because it's a new self that's emerging.
Yeah.
So, you know, how do I stay connected with my inner marriage whilst being in the sacred marriage with Pete? For me, it's journaling, free-flowing writing in my journal daily, hopefully. And yeah, we are very much discovering this sleeping apart episode. But saying that, Petey was back in the bed last night.
Oh, that's great.
I mean, there's so much in motion for us all at this moment. This is the end of 2018.
No, it's so true. And thank you for your vulnerability in sharing that as well, because I mean, I'm going to be vulnerable too now. When myself and Ethan, when we got together, about a year after that, our whole relationship really sort of accelerated our ascension journey, and we started to go through these series of what I now understand to be DNA activations. And we were going through sort of very sensitive times in our awakening journey, and we started sleeping separately, and we still do. Because we found that we actually preferred it from the point of view of being able to, at night time, kind of purge what we needed to purge. You know, like the clearing happens, right, as you're going through that restorative process, and being in each other's physical energy field. Like one of you can, you know, can pick up and start doing the other person's clearing and stuff, and it can get quite enmeshed.
Yes.
So yes, we have discovered this as well, and gone through the same sort of process with the parents coming around and like, oh, they're in separate bedrooms. What does this mean? And you know, it's an interesting process.
It is. It's so amazing. Like, you know, I'm in the top of the house, Pete's down in the basement. And it's so amazing to like come downstairs and I'll like calling and go, Petey, you want coffee? And it's like, it's so, I can't find the words for it. Wholesome, natural, good companionship. It's like it's creating a new ground for the relationship to rest on and in. I would hugely recommend, if you guys are, you know, people listening, if you're being in a very agitated phase, you know, tumultuous tit for tat, argue, maybe go for the separate bedrooms for a while.
Yeah, and stages on the ascension journey when you're going through those very sensitive stages. Or if one of you snores, I mean, you know, any of the above. So
this might become the norm. We haven't ruled this out. It might become the normal way of being.
It has for us. I mean, we still do from time to time. If we're away, obviously, there's, you know, nobody wants to pay for sort of 2 different hotel rooms, right? But yeah, it has become our norm, and actually, it's nice to have the space. Yeah, I get it. So can we talk, and Pete, maybe you can help us out on this one. So going in sacred union, there are these times where we can feel our sacred union, our partnership is getting unbalanced. So maybe it's because one of us is going through like a fast track, you know, a stage in their ascension that is, you know, more rapid, more fast than the other person, or, you know, we're just at different speeds anyway. What is your advice around how to kind of approach this for the viewers? Is that a problem? Do we need to be rebalancing, or what's your take?
Well, we're all talking about conscious relating. And not having a choice about where you sleep is not conscious. You're just together because you have no choice. When you sleep separately and you come together for whatever reason, then it's conscious union. Loving union. Not from a place of have to, but of free choice. And that carries a whole different vibration. And then really importantly, again, what is happening to one, however it appears in some kind of idea of a hierarchy, it's actually happening to both. Facets of it happening to each in perhaps different ways, but absolutely. And again, this is happening for us, not to us. We're both being invited to step into something more, rather than something's happening to her and I just need to keep a wall up so I don't get hit, kind of thing. Especially for me, it's important to reach out for the guys to say, you know, it's easy to go with cliches like don't take it personally. To an extent it is true, because what she's going or what he's going through has got a personal flavor from own baggage way back before me. However, as the loving partner, what part of my duty is it to be there? Because who else can she unload with or to, if not you. So there's lots of components here, and it's Jeff Brown is a great guy. I read quite a lot, and this guy is, keep it real. To an extent, when she's pointing the finger at you, it is personal. It's got your fucking name on it. It is personal at that point, but what can you do with it? Can you, if you can, disconnect in to a certain extent so that you can listen to what she's saying and not try to fix anything, literally just listen. I'm not so great at this, by the way. We've got a chance of not getting triggered yourself, because as soon as you get triggered, that's it. You end up in this spiral, and it can get horrible, and nobody wins anything from that.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, you're gonna get triggered, both of you.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens then? Even talking about that whole process later, I feel, yes, we're still getting triggered. It's probably always going to happen. That's reality. But how we deal with it, what we say to each other, how fast we come out of it, and how much damage limitation do we do? I feel we've really recently gone through a lot of stuff, but we've come out of it stronger because somewhere we both really want this.
Yeah.
I got to say, very last thing from me, personally, what works when nothing else does is prayer. I cannot do this, beloved, with my mind. I really, on bended knee, hands together, I really need help with this. And it's almost instantaneous. Something happens completely out of the blue, unexpected. Whatever someone believes in, reaching to a higher intelligence that's actually orchestrating this in the first place, humility, and especially if the wife sees that this is a genuine humility, that in itself can be a game changer.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes, I have also noticed that as well about prayer. It's it really does help to bring the solutions in when, as you say, you've tried everything yourself, and you don't know how to move forwards. I mean, it's just interesting. I think back now to before I met my partner, like many of our viewers and maybe yourselves as well, really, praying to meet my twin flame, my soulmate. And I wrote a letter to my twin flames angels, to my angels, and asked them to connect us, and well, I think it works, because it took a little while, but there he was. And the first year it was kind of like there was this huge celebration because we'd met each other, and everything kind of seemed to flow and work, very well for a while. And then suddenly, that's when the real transformation, the real opportunity to transform arose. And I think there can be this sort of romantic view. I know that I had it, that you're not going to have these problems, that you're just going to love each other to eternity and never split up. Actually, it's almost like guaranteed. I was hoping that it was some sort of guaranteed, past, so that my heart wouldn't get broken again. And then kind of reality sets in, and you realize, well, yeah, of course it's still a relationship, and actually this can be the most confronting.
Yeah.
But what I will say in my own experience, and I'd love to hear what your perception is on this, what it hasn't been is it hasn't been a toxic relationship.
Yes.
It's been very confronting and challenging at times, but it's not had that toxic, unhealthy, note that I have, I've experienced in the past.
Yes.
What do you guys Did you have similar romantic notions? Maybe you didn't, Anaiya, because of your previous.
Major romantic. But I mean, I've always used my imagination to really see and feel and hear and sense what it must have been like to be two little souls entwined around each other before you even know yourself as male and female. You're just one.
Yeah.
And then, you know, slowly there's like a ripple, there's like an animating wave that starts to create some form of division and separation, you know, even at cellular level, fluid level, not even flesh level, because you're not flesh at this point, but at light level.
Yeah.
Suddenly you are two separate beings.
Yeah.
But that's not the separation. The separation is yet to come.
Mm-hmm.
Separation is when you go down and into form. So if you pay a little bit of attention to what that must feel like, what that horrendous and severe and frightening,
Yeah.
no one's told you what's happening.
Yeah.
Frightening, isolating, lonely, cold. Fucking hell, I'm on Earth as a human, and you got to barricade yourself up pretty damn quick,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've got to become operative, and then you've got to grow up as a child, and then, you know, then there's so many layers around us, and that is what that beautiful twin is doing.
Mm.
Going right up to that layer of protection that you wisely placed around you. This was a good move, but now it's not needed.
Yeah.
But you are removing those wise layers that you placed around you, but you cannot have them in the presence of the other one anymore, because this is what's stopping the reunion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We are talking existential pain.
Yeah.
And joy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The extremes.
Yeah. So this is not, yes, the relationship issues are there, the male and female issues are there, you know, battle of the sexes, that's all there, but so is that existential soul repair.
Yeah.
That needs to be done.
Yes.
That's the biggie. That makes people run away.
Yes. Okay, so yeah, I wonder if we could talk briefly, is probably not possible, but if we could try to sum this up or to give the viewers some instruction, some guidance, this would be useful. Sacred sexuality. So for people who are watching this and would like to explore this realm, what would be your guidance on the best places for them to start?
I would say, first step, spend time getting into your body. That could be breath, that could be, you know, touching each other, feeling each other energetically, physically, feeling what's going on beneath the surface of your hand, slowing everything down. For me, I like doing things in a much darker environment. So I don't want any electric lights. I want candles. I call it going into the zone. I want to go into the zone. I want to go into that very same place where I do yoga, meditate, and prayer.
Yeah.
I want to feel Pete there.
Mm.
Yes, I see this being, and you know, the old version of me would have seen this being and concentrated only on the physical body.
Mm-hmm.
I want sex. I want to climb on. I want to rub up and down. I want to reach orgasm. That's the old version. You know, and that's a great and playful version. And she's there. She's inside of me. But I know now from experience that if we slow things down, very much concentrate on the breath and the feeling and the inner, I think that's what I'm trying to say. Be aware of the inner as much as the outer. The old program of sex is outer, outer, outer.
Yeah.
Outer, reach the goal. Yeah.
And I think, you know, you must be really, there are people where just the outer seems to stimulate them for the rest of their lives. But for the vast majority of us, then, you know, there comes a point, as much as, you know, we might love and find our partner attractive, there comes a point where we're wanting something more. You know, the old stimulus it doesn't do what it used to do, right?
Well, we're finding all of these characters on the inside, you know, through our processes, through our bonfires, through our humility. We're finding all these new like facets and aspects of ourselves that we haven't seen for a while, if ever at all. And of course, we want to meet. We want our partner to meet that new part that's just been discovered. And sex, you know, the outer expression of sex, it just doesn't do that.
No.
I mean, it's great. It's wonderful. I love the feelings of sex. But I feel I'm so tuned into the inner and the outer.
Yeah.
And that great saying in the Gospel of Philip, the importance of bringing the inner and the outer together.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I want to chart Pete's inner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, what have you found in meditation today? Where in your body is that? How can I breathe with that part?
That's beautiful. Yeah.
I would say to the guys, take the focus off sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
Have, if sexuality is the aim, to have more beautiful lovemaking. It's not about the physical action anymore, especially as the lady is heading towards or in menopause. So instead of focusing on the physical aspect, it's creating a field within which sexuality is one of the aspects, and absolutely not the most important one, where sexuality can happen or not, and each, including the man, is as happy either way. Why should a woman be treated with anger and disrespect all day and then expect to make love?
Yeah.
Whereas for perhaps the guy, from the moment of waking up, the whole of life is foreplay if he wants to see it in a sexual context. But without that being the goal, without that being the end game, I'm doing this nice thing for her so that she will want to have sex with me tonight, that cannot work. It's an awareness that we're all hypnotized by this sexual thing, and it's kept us away from going deeper, both men and women. But we need each other in this, and that's one of the valid routes to deepening, is through what happens in passionate, intimate connection.
Oh, you guys, I could chat with you all day. You know that. I'm really, really getting a lot out of this rich conversation. And thank you so much for everything that you're both sharing, the wisdom that's coming through and the vulnerability. Pete, I'd love to give your Sunday night circles a bit of a sharing, because, you know, there may well be people who are listening to this who would like to participate. I know it's a men's only circle and there are men listening, so.
It's very simple. I publish the details on Thursday night, what the subject is. It's usually 7 o'clock Central European time, and it doesn't cost anything. You don't have to stay. You don't have to come exactly the right time or stay a certain amount of time. You don't need to sign up on any email list. There is no catch. The only thing is, just like any sharing circle, your only duty is to listen to the others when they speak. It's not, there is no satsang, there is no teaching. It's simply a circle of equals. But right now, what's needed, I feel, is that guys feel that commonality I spoke about earlier, where they can hear it's not just them walking around feeling like that, or that this is happening to him and them in their relationship. It's happening to every man. And just that in itself leads to a huge sense of relief.
Mhm.
We think we're the worst possible partner in the world because it's only us walking around with this, but actually, you know, many guys are walking around with this same feeling of insufficiency, not good enough.
Yeah.
So Facebook, yeah,
It's on your Facebook page, is it?
yeah, yeah. I release it on a few different men's groups, kind of thing. But
Is it on Pete Wilson or
very easy to find.
just Pete Wilson?
Yeah, on Facebook.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
All right.
Thank you for that, by the way.
Yeah. No, it just felt important to definitely share that, and you know, I love what you're doing and the service that you're providing there, and I absolutely agree, and can see that, you know, for the divine, for women, we have actually a lot of support structures set up in society now, and if we want to find it, at least we are well catered for, but not so much the masculine, you know, presence. So and my partner is, I think I mentioned this to you before, he's going to be doing an online series around the evolved masculine. So I know that there are, you know, like yourself, Pete, you know, there are many men stepping up and stepping forwards now with this ascension process. And I think we are, you know, truly blessed to have you and, you know, be on this mission with you.
A quick tip for everyone, whether couplage or not, but especially for couples, watch the free series on YouTube called Man Enough.
Man Enough.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Circle of guys, slightly different each week. I think it's a series of 4 chats, and they're guys having a meal together, and they're talking about guy stuff. But it would be so important for couples that the woman to hear what they're going through too, because she's like hearing as a fly on the wall.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Great.
It can be a great encouragement for any guy thinking of going into men's work, finding out where the nearest man's circle is. This is how it could look. It's as natural as this. It's a genius.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Thank you. I will. Yeah. I will check that out, and our viewers definitely recommend that you check out the YouTube. It's called Man Enough. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, and we have got one more beautiful sharing before we go, and this is a really beautiful free gift that Anaiya and Pete have put together for our viewers. So I just welcome you to share what your beautiful.
I can't remember what it was. Do you have a little note of what it was?
I do, because I was looking at it before our interview, and this was where I was very much a fan of your writing. It's Receiving the Heart of the Masculine.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so this is a beautiful transmission. So basically, I use my voice to settle the listeners down into that deep, deep space. So we're in the zone, and the listener kind of knows that I'm there as a fellow female, as a fellow feminine being. And in comes Pete's masculine voice, representing the father, the son, the brother, the husband, the lover, as not only the words of the new sacred masculine, but mostly the energy. And so the lady and the men can listen too, because to hear another masculine voice. So the invitation is to lay there and absorb the energy, and to see where you flinch, where you say, "Oh, that can't possibly be true."
Okay.
Or I can let that part in. And of course, what we're really hoping for is the beautiful release of tears, because of the graciousness and the elegance and the honor, you know, the honor of actually hearing this masculine voice in human form. So it's a transmission. It's a inner journey. It's yours to keep. You can play it over and over again. And yes, a little co-creation with the pair of us.
That's so beautiful. And I love your write-up for this. I mean, the viewers can, and I do recommend that you click on the link in today's email and go on to Anaiya's website and read the beautiful write-up on there that she has written for this free gift. And I love it. You're saying, how can we accept and welcome men when our own masculine principle is wounded?
Yes.
And I was like, that is, yeah, so true.
The inner masculine of a female, when it's still toxic, berates her, makes her do things she doesn't want to do, says she's a failure if she doesn't complete. So that's the toxic masculine that is obviously in us, because we're from a patriarchal world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that voice we got to catch and go, aha, there you are. Let me just breathe right here, breathe through the message you're telling me, and love you into wholeness.
Because, yeah, absolutely. When I was reading that, I mean, it's my year 9 at the moment, you know, so it's the year of completion of the ending of this cycle. And there's been a lot of stuff, old stuff, of course, which, you know, is new stuff because it's in my reality, which has been coming up around the divine masculine. And, you know, there's been tears that I've shed this year, and insights that I've had. And of course, and reading your free gift, it's really, it's reminded me to see this as aspects of the old me that were playing out in these wounded ways. Yeah, which was represented in my relationships at the time, of course, but it was an aspect of my inner voice and my inner energies. Because we can, you know, even being on the spiritual path and having this awareness, it can still be so easy in our relationships to externalize things, of course.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a beautiful remembrance, and I know this will be a very deep transmission for our viewers. So thank you. Yeah. Well, so that just leaves me to say thank you to both of you for everything that you have brought to today's show, for your vulnerability, your honesty, your caring, your sharing. I've certainly really enjoyed, you know, giving this interview and being in this space with you. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Same here. Loved conversing with you. Thank you for doing this, putting this out there and representing this. Yeah.
My pleasure. So thank you to all the viewers as well who have tuned in to receive today's transmission. And I do invite you to click on the link and go and check out Anaiya and Pete's free gift, and also check out the circles, the male only circles that he does on a Sunday night. They sound very cool. Go on, Pete.
Men at Heart.
Sorry?
Called Men at Heart.
Men at Heart. Beautiful. Very appropriate, very apt. So yeah, thank you to all of our viewers, and I will see you tomorrow for another amazing interview. Thank you. Bye for now.